Hey everybody, Tyler here at The Movie Beat, back with another Korean movie review. This one's a little bit older. It's called High Heels, the Korean title, and the English title, a little bit more provocative, Man on High Heels. Directed by Jang Jin, and it is a gender-bending neo-noir action movie, which sounds pretty incredible, right? Jang Jin is also the writer, and he's actually probably more famous for writing. I have a previous video review I did of the quiz show Scandal, or Quiz King, that you can check out on my channel, but he's probably more famous for writing Welcome to Dong McCall, one of my favorite romantic comedy movies, Someone Special. He wrote Guns and Talks and Going by the Book, some of my favorites of his. Now, Jang's work for me just always feels really fresh when I watch it because he likes to spin real traditional genre conventions that we see in unexpected ways. His characters are always kind of silly, but there's a certain playfulness in his movies that come across as just so charming that it's really about the characters in his movies. So, Man on High Heels has Jang Jin's signatures all over it, but it is probably one of the darker and perhaps more polished of his movies that I've ever seen. So, let's get into the review. Battle-scarred and known as the $6 Million Man for his steel-plated skeletal reinforcements, and said to never need bullets or handcuffs to bring in a suspect, Detective Yoon Ji-wook, played by Cha Seung-won, has superb fighting prowess that is respected and feared equally on both sides of the law. However, what both the law and criminal underworld do not know is that Yoon has been secretly planning to escape from the world he's known and to live out the rest of his days as the woman he feels he's meant to be. To do this, Yoon must not only fight through one last remaining criminal investigation, but also through a dark gauntlet of self-doubt and social barriers that stand in his way of realizing his new life as a trans woman. Wow. Man on High Heels is a very interesting addition into this neo-noir crime genre that Korean films are so famous for. Elaborately choreographed fight sequences taking place in darkly lit hallways, nightclubs, and parking lots among suit-wearing, knife-wielding gangsters is a defining characteristic of the genre and best represented in films like The Man from Nowhere, The New World, and A Dirty Carnival. And while Man on High Heels borrows fairly heavily from the best of the genre, it does a really fantastic job at creating its own memorable set pieces. While the near superhuman Ji-wook can single-handedly take on dozens of foes and deliver similar beatings to what we've been accustomed to, Man on High Heels is sure to deliver a character like you've never seen before. Cha Seung-won exudes a delicate gracefulness and femininity as he unleashes hell onto all those who cross him. One sequence in the rain has Ji-wook holding an umbrella as he brutalizes a dozen or so gangsters with one hand, all while not getting a single drop of water on him. The careful considerations that Cha and the choreographers placed on posturing Ji-wook through these fight sequences really not only help to establish him as a unique character, but also give Man on High Heels an identity of its own. So Man on High Heels tackles some pretty heavy and sensitive subject matter surrounding the transgender issues that it brings up. And as someone like me who's not completely entirely familiar with all of the current and relevant issues and sensitivities surrounding the issues, I do feel like Man on High Heels takes on the subject matter with a lot of maturity and handles it very well. Cha Seung-won gives a deeply moving performance as the character Ji-wook. Through his eyes, Ji-wook's depression and mental anguish surrounding his internal feelings about himself in conflict with what he sees in the mirror or what is being told to by others can be outright heartbreaking in the sadness that comes through. And being a Jang Jin film, it was these moments that really surprised me in more of its serious tone. And from Ji-wook's young partner that he mentors on the force, to the beautiful bartender he seeks out for help on a case, who also might have ties to his past, what makes Man on High Heels work on levels beyond its daring approach to subject matter is how multidimensional each character is. Presumably thanks to yet another brilliantly written screenplay by Jang Jin, even the antagonists, Hogun and his older brother, Hobol, are given moments to show personalities that really go beyond what villains are usually afforded in movies like this. It's how every character, no matter how big or how small, seems to have been given a richly detailed history for the actors to work with that make each scene so fun to watch. Now, the hyperviolent nature of the crime drama is a very interesting setting to put Ji-wook's story of transitioning into a woman. I know as of recent, a lot of transgender issues have come to the forefront of mainstream politics, but in 2014 when this movie was made, it was sort of at the beginning of all of that. So I don't think that was one of the main core selling points of this movie. So it is possible that they really tried to, the creators of this really tried to package the story into a genre that's more familiar and maybe more digestible to general audiences, because there really isn't many transgender main characters, protagonists in mainstream movies. I can only think of A Boys Don't Cry with Hilary Swank and the Thai film A Beautiful Boxer. Those are the only ones that really come to mind. So that being said, when this came out, people did not take the bait. It really tanked at the box office, so apparently it did not work for local audiences. So if there's some criticism that I could give to Man on High Heels, it's that the actual crime story that's under the character story, which I think the character story is way more important in this movie, it's a little bit watered down and dry, and it just seems like an excuse to show some of those action scenes. However, I loved the action scenes, and that's sort of part of the whole package with this genre. So I loved that duality that was expressed in the extremely masculine portrayal of these fights, and how a lot of the characters were kind of really envious of this main character, Jin-wook, as almost this perfect man that they thought, how he was just so cool. He was a badass. He was wanted really on both sides of the law. The police force really needed him to bring in the bad guys through his sort of any means necessary but high code of honor conduct that he would display. But also the bad guys, the gangsters, were like, this is the perfect gangster. If he could just join the dark side or join our side, he would be the best of the best, like the ultimate leader to follow. Not just because he's an awesome fighter, just the way he carries himself. A lot of the manly men of this movie would be envious of him, or be somewhat put him up on a pedestal as something to be like, or wish they had their number one like that. Or the flip side of that was he wants to become 100% woman. And that contrast of him trying to be delicate and putting on the makeup and wearing the high heels, sort of he gets a little bit of coaching from sort of like this burlesque dancer woman who tries to really build his confidence and take him out on the town to embrace that new life that he wants to start. So that aspect of this movie, I feel like, really was the most interesting selling point, and the action and all of the crazy hyper stylized violence was almost a cherry on top. That was the visual feast, but really the mental feast was the story and the characters. There was actually a lot of moments too, classic Jang Jin style, which I just had to laugh out loud. It's a funny serious, exciting action movie. Man on High Heels, I feel like, is a film that's ahead of its time and will probably be more appreciated in the future. However, for those really looking forward to getting into something new and interesting that they can appreciate on multiple levels, that can handle both the genre and the subject matter, I promise you, Man on High Heels is pretty unforgettable. It really delivers. It brings all the goods in bloody, fantastic form, and technically beautiful. So I really want to rate Man on High Heels an 8 out of 10, and it's one of my most wanted nice Blu-ray editions. There's some amazing art and posters that went along with this release with a lot of the promotion, which I really feel like it would make an awesome limited edition Blu-ray package. Unfortunately, I think just the market is not out there for a movie like this, unless, you know, people might feel tricked based on how they would have to market it for people to really want to buy it, which would be more on the action noir side. But let me know what you guys thought of Man on High Heels, if you did see it, or if this review maybe makes you want to see it. Let me know, and what you thought of the movie below. If you like reviews like this and you want to see more, I'd appreciate it if you like the video, and you can subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with all our new and past movie reviews and all things related to Korean film industry if I can. So thanks for watching. I'm Tyler at The Movie Beat. Keep watching movies.